Hey, what's up, guys? It's Eli Fishman from TalkingBall.net and YouTube, Eli Fishman Sports. And today I'm talking Major League Baseball 2017 Hall of Fame voting. Through the voting process, there has been a lot of controversy revolving around three things: the definition of a Hall of Famer, how Hall of Fame voters should vote versus how they do vote, and if your off-the-field performance should have an impact on if you're a Hall of Famer or not. And today I'll break down the ballot for you and tell you my opinion on everything. First of all, let's just review the Hall of Fame voting in general. The people voting for the Hall of Famers are members of the Baseball Writers Association of America, also known as the guys who have been working as a baseball beat writer for at least 10 years. These voters vote for players who have been at least 5 years retired from Major League Baseball. If you receive less than 5% of the vote, you are no longer on the ballot for any more years. But anyone who ranges from 5 to 75% of the vote can stay on the ballot for up to 15 years. In the case that a ball player gets 75% or more of the vote, they will be elected into the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame. This year, there are 34 players on the ballot, and let's see it. So here's a picture for you of the ballot this year, but I'll tell you who I'm voting for if I am a Hall of Fame voter, which I do hope to be someday. I'm avoiding anyone who cheated or had off-the-field problems. On my ballot, I would put Vladimir Guerrero, Trevor Hoffman, Ivan Rodriguez, and Jeff Bagwell. That is it. These seem to be the guys who are most deserving of making it to the Hall of Fame and did not have any major problems. Now, I know what you're thinking. Pudge Rodriguez, he was accused of taking performance-enhancing drugs, but as a similar situation it is with, David Ortiz, he never tested positive. It doesn't make sense that he should be held out of something as big as the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame for something that was never proven, and there has never been any evidence of. Even with that, Ivan Rodriguez is, in my mind, the second best catcher of all time, behind Johnny Bench. But for real, he was never proven to have done anything wrong. And again, he is so Hall of Fame worthy. There are so many guys on this ballot that, yes, they were damn good ball players, but they are not worthy of baseball immortality. It is that simple. Just like there was controversy for Murray Chass, a Hall of Fame voter, and he left his ballot completely empty and handed it in. He got a lot of crap, but he said that he didn't think there were any players who really stood out to him as real Hall of Famers. I have nothing against that. There isn't anything wrong with that. Your ballot could be whatever you want it to be. There are guys like Billy Wagner, Jorge Posada, Tim Raines, Edgar Martinez, who were great ball players. And it's not that I don't see them as Hall of Famers. Maybe they'll get in the future, and I'm sure a few of those guys will, and a couple deserve to get in, but I don't see them as Hall of Famers and people with baseball immortality. Now, let's discuss off the field. Manny Ramirez, Barry Bonds, Gary Sheffield, Roger Clemens, Sammy Sosa, anyone who takes steroids, not on my list. Cheating just isn't right. No one will care if you're the greatest of all time if you cheated. You shouldn't be able to get into the Hall of Fame if you took PEDs. If voters select Barry Bonds into the Hall of Fame, that will spark a lot of controversy. You truly haven't made it as a great baseball player until you're in Cooperstown. You could have a great career and be a great ball player, but everyone's final goal in baseball is to make it to Cooperstown. And if you've made it there, you've achieved baseball immortality. So if a guy like Barry Bonds can take steroids and still make it through every level of baseball and be a baseball immortality, that will make more guys take performance-enhancing drugs, and it'll just have a big effect on younger people who want to make it to the Hall of Fame. And Barry Bonds would be there, and he would have cheated, and people would think that it was fine to break the rule and take drugs just to do it, just to be into the Hall of Fame. So if one of those PEDs guys elected, it'll throw so much off and completely mess up the way we look at the Baseball Hall of Fame. Another topic, Curt Schilling. I don't even know where to start with him. I mean, he should be in the Hall of Fame because of his on-field performance, but I don't think that he played a Hall of Fame-worthy career off the field because he said so much crap about politics, people, religions, and he's just a bad guy. Even in baseball, if you disrespect the game isn't going to love you back, which it shouldn't, which is why he shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame. Just listen to what he said in an interview with TMZ about Hall of Fame voters and the process. Just have a look.
Do you feel like, honestly, that it's your outspokenness or your political views that are keeping you out of Cooperstown? And do you think that you deserve to be in off what you did on the baseball field?
Well, they're not hiding the fact that they've stopped voting for me because of the things I've said in social media. That's That's their prerogative as voters. They're going to keep me. They're not going to vote for me. The people have said they're not going to vote for me. They're not going to vote for me because of the character clause. These are some of there are some of the worst human beings I've ever known voting. There are scumbags all across the. I don't want that to be the but for me. If they don't believe my baseball talent merits me getting in the Hall of Fame, then so be it.
Is the character clause itself fair? Do you think is the character clause?
Well,
should it be considered? I'm asking, not fair.
Right, but here's the thing: it matters if it's not used in all cases. They pick and choose when they use the character clause. I promise you, if I had said lynch Trump, I'd be getting in with about 90% of the vote this year.
My opinion overall, and especially after this video, is that if you want to be in the Baseball Hall of Fame, don't call the people who decide if you're going to be in the Hall of Fame things like that. In school, if I wanted to be the president of student council, and I wanted that really bad, I shouldn't criticize other students because they're the ones voting for me. Show them respect and don't address them disrespectfully, which is what he did. He also said that if you were to say lynch Trump, then he would have gotten 90% of the vote. That's not true. He hadn't said anything. If he hadn't said anything with politics, maybe he would have gotten 75% of the vote. But I don't know about 90%. And I don't think that you have to be I think that you have to be a Hall of Famer for your performance off the field as well as on the field. Curt Schilling, his on-field performance was amazing. A .600 winning percentage, 3.335 ERA. He's one of the best pitchers in postseason history. 2.23 ERA. World Series MVP, three World Series appearances on the field. He qualifies as a Hall of Famer, but off the field, heck no. Look at almost any guy in the Hall of Fame. You see their performance off the field, their good attitude, their personality, but Curt Schilling's personality not Hall of Fame worthy. For more on the Hall of Fame, I'm now happy to be joined by Hall of Fame voter and Philadelphia Phillies beat writer Rob Maaddi. Rob, thanks for joining me today.
Hey, Eli, how are you?
Good, how about you?
Doing well.
So this year, you're on the ballot, and you're a Hall of Fame voter. And this is your ballot for this year. You selected the maximum of 10 guys, and of those 10 guys, there were a couple guys who took performance-enhancing drugs. Do you think that anyone who took performance-enhancing drugs and had anything to do with them, despite that, if they had a Hall of Fame career, should be allowed in the Hall of Fame?
Yeah, Eli, my stance on players who have been suspected to take performance-enhancing drugs is that we should, as Hall of Fame voters, judge them based on their production on the field, on their stats, on their numbers, because we don't know definitively who took what at what time during their career, and we have been given no guidance or direction by the Hall of Fame committee as to how to vote for those guys. So people can argue and make a case that guys like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens were guilty of taking performance-enhancing drugs, but then there are other players who there may have been suspicions about them and either never tested positive, never were caught, or we never found out what they did. So as someone who has played sports throughout my entire life and has taken several supplements that I can purchase over the counter, I feel that it's not fair to single guys out and then to just use our eye test and say, well, it doesn't look like he did anything, but it looks like this guy, he's so jacked up and so muscular, he must have. Because you can take legitimate supplements and work out diligently and have a proper and healthy diet and gain muscle. I gained 60 pounds over a 10-year span, never used any supplements that were illegal, never used anything that was steroid related. However, I did take supplements that are banned by Major League Baseball. So I can take them, you can take them, but a baseball player can't. So that's how I narrow it down. I just think it's fair for me to say I'm going to vote for the numbers. And another argument is that in the 60s and 70s, guys like Hank Aaron and Willie Mays took amphetamines, which help you with your hand and eye coordination. And you can argue that hand and eye coordination is extremely important for a hitter in baseball, much more so than muscles, because if you to make contact and connect and hit the ball, you need that hand-eye coordination. And to be able to hit the ball, I can go into the gym and get a guy who's bench press is 650 pounds, but he can't hit a 92-mile-an-hour slider. So that's my feeling on that.
That actually made me agree with you a lot more. I was on the edge about that. I thought that they should be allowed because of, as you said, statistics, and then I went back to that they shouldn't be. But that actually made me, especially after your experiences, that would make me think that they should be allowed. Also, another topic is Curt Schilling. He was not on your ballot. And does that have anything to do with what he has said and done off the field?
No, and I have voted for Curt Schilling in the past, and the reason he was off my ballot this year is because it's a loaded ballot, and there were, we can only vote for 10 guys, and that's the maximum, and I think that's a ridiculous rule because if you have 15 guys on a ballot that should be in the Hall of Fame, you should be able to vote for 15 guys. So it's unfortunate that guys like Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens didn't already get in, and therefore we don't have to vote for them now. Or even someone like Tim Raines, who I did vote for this year for the first time because it's his last year on the ballot, and after carefully studying it, I felt that he is a Hall of Fame player. So once they lift that criteria, the maximum, the 10 max rule, which so many voters have issues with, we will be able to vote for more guys that we feel are Hall of Fame worthy. So for me, the way I did it this year was I didn't want to have to choose between Schilling and Messina again. Mike Messina, to me, is also worthy of a Hall of Fame vote. So after I had my 9 and it came down to picking the 10th guy, rather than pick between Messina or Schilling, I said I'm going to leave both of them off this year because I didn't feel that they were going to be close to 75% anyway. And I went with Jeff Kent, who I voted for the first time this year, and he was the 10th guy I chose, and I did that because I feel he absolutely deserves to be in the Hall of Fame, and he's been overlooked for several years.
In a tweet, you stated that you had to make some really hard decisions this year about who you wanted on your ballot. You just took us through one. Can you tell us about what some of the other really hard decisions were of who was going to be on and off your ballot?
Manny Ramirez, Vladimir Guerrero, and who else was it? Ivan Rodriguez are all first-year guys, and I felt that they also should be. They're all also worthy, and I will vote for them in the future. So that's 5 guys right there: Schilling, Messina, Manny, Pudge Rodriguez, and Vlad Guerrero that I absolutely will vote for in the future, but did not vote for this year. And I just left out the first-year guys because of the 10 max rule, and it had nothing to do with whether guys deserve to be first ballot Hall of Famers or not, because I always thought that was an inane, archaic excuse that voters used in the past to say, well, this guy's a Hall of Famer, but let's make him wait because he's not as much of a Hall of Famer as Babe Ruth or Willie Mays, who went in on the first ballot. So let's make this, no. If you're a Hall of Famer, you're a Hall of Famer. You should go in on the first ballot or the first time you're available. So that wasn't my reasoning for not voting for those guys, but my reason was I just couldn't fit them on the top 10, and there were 10 other guys that I wanted to continue to vote for.
All right, thank you so much, Rob. So in conclusion, I think that as long as no PED guys or Curt Schilling get elected into the Baseball Hall, it will be fine. I think that a Hall of Famer just has to be a good player, good enough to achieve baseball immortality, and that a baseball great, not a guy who cheated the system or disrespected the game, is a guy who should be in the Hall of Fame. As the guys I gave you, Vladimir Guerrero, Trevor Hoffman, Ivan Rodriguez, and Jeff Bagwell, I really hope they make it to the Hall of Fame. I'm sure most of them will. I wouldn't be surprised if Pudge doesn't make it, though, because he was very heavily charged with that he took performance-enhancing drugs. And if the Hall of Fame voters think that he did, and they don't want to vote for him, I have no problem. January 18th is when the 2017 Major League Baseball Hall of Fame class of 2017 will be announced. I'm very excited to see how it'll turn out with all the issues. That's all we have time for today. Signing off, I'm Eli Fishman from TalkingBall.net and Eli Fishman Sports on YouTube. Thanks for joining me today.